So I have a lot of people asking me, do I support clean air and clean water? Duh. Duh. So there's a lot of crazy things going on at the EPA right now. I've already talked about, and I dropped a video for you guys yesterday on the EPA sending the California waivers and the fact that they do not have authority to enforce the Clean Air Act. That is all in the thing. You can go over to the EPA's website, read it for yourself. Lee Zeldin, the administrator of the EPA, submitted it to Congress. The way that the Clean Air Act is currently written, they can't enforce it. All right. They don't have constitutional authority. And one of the things that makes me laugh before we get into the rest of the video was I saw a clip from The View where Sonny Hostin basically said, and you're a lawyer, like your level of retard is so strong here. Literally said, oh, the president doesn't have the authority to just create an agency, talking about Doge. Well, cool. I'm all about setting that precedent, right? I'm all about setting that precedent. So presidents don't have the ability to create an agency? Cool. So the EPA can bounce. We don't even have to wait for Congress to review anything. We can just close that up because Richard Nixon created that with an executive order. It's this level of dumbassery from the climate side or the environmental side or the pro-government everything side that makes me laugh. Now, I have personal friends that have had to retire, that worked at the VA, that, just cashed out all their PTO and are having to retire. I got friends that work at DOD that are having to retire. I can tell you this, I've made it very clear multiple times, I'm a defense contractor. Guess what? All of my defense contracts are being reviewed to see if how much money I bill the government is good or not. Am I crying from the rooftops and going, they're going to take my money? It's called good business. If somebody offers me a service or wants to do something for my company, and I find somebody else that's going to do the same job, like doing it cheaper, taking care of it, and making sure that my money goes to where it's supposed to go, that's what I'm supposed to do as a business owner, okay? That's what the people that are running the government are supposed to do that run the government, to make sure that my tax dollars, your tax dollars, go to the right things, okay? Not to some dinner book in Guatemala or rag show, like we'll say RAG, but put a D in front of that, show thing in Honduras or whatever the rest of the crap was going on with USAID. But now the EPA has found like 20 billion in BS grants, and they had 20 billion in a non-governmental bank account for grants. 2 of that was going to a Stacey Abrams backed group that has not had more than $100 in their company or organization. Make that make sense. So it's stuff like this that, raise all the flags, right? Like it's kind of crazy. It is. It's just kind of crazy. And they're at the point now, and I have to agree, where they say the EPA doesn't even need to be an agency anymore. And I have to come to that agreement. If Lee Zeldin, which he has determined, does not have the authority, the constitutional authority to enforce the Clean Air Act, right? That falls actually to the Department of Justice, and they don't do it. So if the EPA doesn't have the authority to do it, according to the way that they're looking at the way the law is written, and they've now submitted this stuff to Congress, then the EPA doesn't need to exist. We can close that up. Save that money. Bye. Go home. I'm just saying. Like, I think it's time for more common sense here, and it's time for more wins. But I thought this was interesting, like seeing all the waste and fraud and the craziness going on with like $20 billion that we don't even know what it's going to or what's going to happen with it. And, you know, this chick getting $2 billion in Georgia for whatever climate BS, whatever's going on. That was literally like a thank you for, we have a saying called meat riding, right? Now, I don't want to say that she's a regular participant at the Blue Oyster. I don't know her politics per se. I'm not in Georgia. I'm not in the Georgia political scene. Just have to be honest with you there. But we have a saying in where I come from called meat riding, right? And to me, it looks like that was a meat riding payment. That was a professional dick riding payment. You've done what the party asked you to do for X amount of years. I'm out. Here's $2 billion for your agency for you to, you know, take a $250,000 salary a year or whatever it is, $500,000 salary a year to run your foundation. This happens all the time in government. And I'm telling you, as a government contractor, I can tell you for sure, there is a ton of waste. I'm able to be a defense contractor for the Department of Defense because I bid lower than the Raytheons and the like, okay? Because I can do the job. I can hire somebody else to do the job. My company still makes money, and the job gets done at an efficient rate. I thought it was interesting just to touch on this, talking about the waste and the fraud and everything else, at least from the EPA side. And I think maybe it's time that it is shut down. But I got another video for you guys later talking about what's going to happen with Congress and the fact that the Clean Air Act can't be enforced anymore. And some of the stuff that you can do to, if you want it to go through right now, there's things that you can do right now to push that legislation to the floor. And I think it's time that we get that done. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give this video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.